Multiply and divide rational expressions. Multiply the following rational expressions and simplify the result. And then we also figure out which values make our equation undefined, which that would be by our denominator, and which values make our denominator bad. We can look right now, and we can see 4 is going to be a bad value, because 4 minus 4 equals 0. What we don't know is what's going to come out of here. So I'm going to do that right now, or we'll do everything. I have the problem written down. So the first thing you want to do is factor. Okay, so I'm going to factor the top. Always look at the first term. Actually, there's 2 terms here, right? So you want to see if they're both perfect square roots. This is a perfect square root, the 4z squared. 24z is not, and it's not a difference. So we can't do differences of 2 squares. But we can pull out a 4 and a z. So 4z on the outside, what's left over? 4z times what is 4z squared? That is z. 4z times 6 equals 24z. The bottom, we can pull a 3 out of these 3 terms. So we'll first do that. We'll end up with 6z minus 3z minus 4 times, and we got to factor this top. Okay, remember the top we want to factor by using the diamond method. I'm going to do it in my head so I don't take more time up. Z was going to be minus 5 and z plus 1. Because negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, and negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. And that's over z minus 4. Now we got to still factor this guy. This is going to get factored into z minus 4 and z plus 1, like that. All right. So now we can look at the values that are going to come out undefined. It's going to be positive 4 again. We already had that one from before. And then negative 1. So I'll put negative 1 up there, just so I don't forget it. And then we can also, at this point, cross some things off. The z plus 1 will cross off the z plus 1. And that's actually it. Now, we need to combine. We're multiplying 2 fractions, so the top gets multiplied together. So we have 4z times z plus 6 times z minus 5. And that's all over what's on our bottom, which is 3 times z minus 4 times z minus 4, which I'm going to write it as squared. And that should be our answer right there, with that negative 1 as a undefined value. And let's see here, so I'm going to divide to get the fraction set up first. Go to the top, so we have 4z parentheses z plus 6, z minus 5. Go to the bottom, 3 parentheses z minus 4 squared. And let's see how this all comes out. My computer's slow, but I typed it all in. See if it pops out right. Hey, Paul. Okay, so it all popped in, and checking the answer. And there we go. All right, next question. Okay, so k4 minus k squared, which we can pull a k squared out of that top. And actually, it's a difference of 2 squares up there. We'll talk about that in a second. 18k6 divide by k squared minus 37k minus 38, and 12k squared minus 24. Okay. All right, so here's a problem. We're dividing, so we're going to end up flipping the second fraction and multiplying it. This top up here is actually a difference of 2 squares. The square root of k to the 4 is k squared, and the square root of k is square root of k squared is k. So this top we can rewrite as k squared minus k times k squared plus k. So that's factored. Our 18k6 stays there. I'm going to flip this fraction around right now. And the top we can factor into k minus 38 and k plus 1. The bottom here we can factor out 12k. And we're left with k minus 2. Oh, I forgot to flip these things around. Didn't I? So this is still a division sign right here. Nothing's really canceling out, so I'm trying to look at it and see what's going on. I wonder if they didn't want us to factor this one this way, because we can pull a k out of both these things. I'm going to refactor this top guy and see. So I'm going to pull a k squared out. K squared minus 1. Interesting. It's not pulling anything out. Okay, maybe there's no thing that's going to cancel. But remember, these two need to be switched around. So do that now. We get k minus 38, k plus 1, and 12k, k minus 2. We will lose 1k. K squared. Oh, I guess that might, okay. There's maybe more k's that can come out. So I'm going to refactor this guy the way I did the second time, with a k squared outside and k squared minus 1, like that. The reason why I did that is, well, we have 1, 2, 3 k's up top and 6 on the bottom. So we're going to cancel off those k's, and this bottom one will turn into a k3. And then we have a 12 and an 18. We can cancel, we can pull a 6 out. So if you divide both by 6, we get 2 left over up here, and we get 3 left over down the bottom. So I think the answer is just going to be k minus 1 times k minus 2 times 3k3 times k minus 38 times k plus 1. The bad values are going to be 0 from right here, positive 38, and negative 1. So I'm going to pause this while I type it all in so it doesn't take forever to load up. Okay, so I got it all typed in, and I'm selecting my undefined values. I'm just checking my board right now, making sure I typed it in right. But it looks good. But my B and C aren't checking in. And this is why I paused it. I thought it was going to be done loading by now. Okay, so I checked my answer, and it says I'm almost there. Oh, I know why. So remember when we had a division problem here and we flipped it? We have to consider this 2 down here as a value as well that's undefined. So even when it's originally down here and then we flip it to the top, it's still a value that counts. So positive 2 is also a bad value. And there we go. Let's try it again. Okay, so I actually had a mistake. So I erased my board already, so I'm going to point out the spot where I made a mistake at. So right here, when I factor out the k squared, I should have gotten k squared times k squared minus 1, and I could factor this out as the difference of 2 squares. I talked about that originally, but I didn't do it that way. And then we get k minus 1 over k plus 1. And what ends up happening is the k plus 1 will cancel out with this k plus 1 right here. So I should not have put this k plus 1 underneath. I also forgot to put a k squared up here on that k squared minus 1 to make my answer right originally. So if I delete this out, we should have our correct answer. And now let's check. There we go. All right, I'll finish this video later. Class, let's start.